atemudie ewo media the information samaba one subscribe so na one subscribe Ras Media GH abusiamfo ene John Dramani Mahama Babontin esu kyerɛ Ghana for say atemudie ewo media num no edo so dodo item ye pa wotin ye wotin ye body by body share gonjani kono Mr. Supreme Leader ene wakani wo pefe say Ghana media num atemudie ewo mu dodo nti osere Ghana for mo mfa nche no ema Ghana for ni na atemu biem ose na me no kase Ghana for nya atemudie ewo media num no kai brebi atwem na in the media space no ntimi me wa no nka asɛmbɔ no mfa panyine bi ho na nso ne media for no especially we the bloggers ose ye kan nsɛm ye very filthy just say nsɛm a ya aboforo Mahama Temiye Paul John Mahama na obobo some bloggers obo wompa tua wonka mo mudi mpainfo akukudam atem Ghana maimu to the stand say yewura otumfo otikoko so papa me bo dina na mapaja me mu na mabɔ me mu yedidi na atem di ɔkyere hena atem akufo adode no ye tweapea da bia na enipa ed national no ewe no edi twi ne se John Dramani Mahama ye con man ankasa John Mahama ye con man John Mahama ye somebody that you can never trust. John Dramani Mahama mama Esther timi ye pa Papa John Dramani Mahama ono na di insult in the media baye ono ne tua sika de ma amamfo mo mo di mpanfo akoko da matem Ghana maimu no na o sesen ama yin na tem papa ye betwa ball papa ye betwa ball ye de odi aye mpanfo de odi aye yesenom de odi aye se bi onipa na ehwe omo so e de boye bra de wo se de tua sika ma amamfo mo de ye mpanfo achi wo be ka chense menye de ye ni watem papa atemu de obegyi bia bɔ ho Ghana konwa na ebɛfono asampa na America ma me esta me mo akwa me nwa so asama ne me mo akwa pa John Darigai me se boaboa ho na prepare ho na atemu de no de ebɛfono obi a otimi twa sika de ma papa bi efe ne kwasiampa nyini Kevin Taylor atena America na utiani kase bosumi bia o mane $500 $500,000 se on tra America na onim painfo mo Ghana man mu atem se ebe ye omo ho ebe ye amanfo ahi wo man no mu omo ntwantrongu omo so ense wonda ache ne wonim de ne won reputation omo di years and a building Ojo Mahama no timi so le begina hwe Ghana fo anim ka kire omo se progress ni di atem dodo ewo media mo John any onye hu hwe I swear to my God afen o de ho aba ye be trouble da bia mi akakari TV mo akwa papa ye be trouble wa ma wa nkasa konwa na be fono akofo adode na okọ otine ba bi na enjoy the life na no hu machine on the besi odi baaye a very nice machine BMW the latest type and odi baaye opia ntimi kan asem but when ne sport show ibe yi aba bonten be bu hu akonta de a kire Ghana fo aba no se me kayo me se aba na ye de ball techi na etare danche mu ho etare ko na haya ye ba be pagya de aboba nso mana ye yie hwan na ye ni na atemo na wo de so nya hu hwe ye twen ma yakọ akoyi ye fragment awie na se ye fragment awie John ubedwane amfiri the Jubilee House so you run away from there oba ya ototo pai so oba ya ototo pai so asabi common handing over note kura untumi nkan hu de ya twe ne wom na ukomeki press ukoye press conference edi ntro kire Ghana fo and also empose bedi watem papa ye bedi watem ye we you being short from your head to your toe. Any the trouble and farmer hokra. And farmer ho. So one honama, une with dear, would the beja tem dear a goo hoa, and your chon free Ghana kunyano. Tariga, my sister wouldn't with dear, would the beja temu dear, bono kasam, asante kasam, dagomba kasam, mamprusi kasam, kusasi kasam, fanti kasam, any achim kasam, ni kasa hodo aka Ghana, e muatemu dear, so ne with dear. Ube to media jia and yes or the free Ghana kunyana so because I feign ye barbe see a sen any a touch them and yes see so I yell what you my coffee because when I would tell yen said this time more my no and yes a war chairman fear na drew now I quack or twaba dia quack you be so pen mamu now mum nipa no gusu obu or my no ye did not tem. Said the idea ya odikofa Kevin Taylor ba Ghana media system mu. Kwanya onam so okofa enipa bi ose efrem of face the country for ba ye. Said the onam so odikofa akoye wawi de okowu Germany. Nyankopon fa ne kransie ye. Mrante hene. Kwanya ofa so okofa sa abo so se fe ne mrante hene o. So se efre ne senyo aboy okowu Germany. Kwanya ofa so sisa nkrofo etia won sika ma omudi ahemfo atem yempanfo yesenom ye wofa no matem e wo media num just for your political power no saa na yensu ye bedi watem e betwa bia bopa boys no mo Ghana no mo ntumi nkasa because you are oppressing the media but ya ye wa bontene no we have all the right to insult you ye mu bi me refugees dada and America, Papa Tim ye mubirum ye refugees dada extradition and yajuma wayanso because ye dikani a secure refugee state what they call of protection internationally and ye bet me trouble from morning to even extradition and yajuma wayanso kwanya offense o me timi kotena dan mu treacherous stories and kwasia stories so say funny saying say adepa book say ajapade ne enkwasia document o say da kwetena dan me yetwereye ne de begu amanfo ani mase abra na enye nokora wo papa panyini we utimi so microphone mu ekasa fast a document ne ho edidi ntro no saa na yenso ne be ye ohu adwuma wo media no enti mekese the bloggers ne wo filthy language yen sha sefen papa now by na man's ne akufo ado tena mu 8 good months tabia na power fm Mugabe nom ai akwana na fu se ban ye fe ne sen kakraka bi ote ho na fu de na no na otetem se mudi sikaja no Mugabe kwabra bobi ansanom agimifo bi no omaka yanka se ye okatachi afirifa mo be fa no kotua sika man se onni akufo ado ne na busuamfo ne ampipi mpanfo nyina tem die na baomia hu ne wo nsam e ba ne se ne na yefre baomia bawolaya die e na wi o ma samija mfi kohye ekotena dan mu ene ne communicators kotwere fa asante man ne asante hene ne akan hene ahemfo akese ho die na wanka Mahama osesen ompese bedi watem mesi bedi watem auto asoso nsuo ko eyawde Mahama osesen eyawde se woto besoso nsuo ana eyawde se ye be bai mu an itari for se tispakere mod kuro tini yipa itari kasam tispakere mod kuro kosi tanto ye bedi watem wayira. You will regret to be the president of the republic. So I'm going to say usuratemudie. Say kaya ye no kre. Yesi obi oye bula, obi obuli amanfo. O man is just a little bit of bullying na. E wurane saying the odia amanfo for the whole of their life. Enti sa Mahama ne nam ho nyina na usuratemudie. Abusiamfo, ma pali video we ya reho. So betie my pali video wa enipa bi ma John Mahama bo wompa kwaye omofa so omudi ye mpanfo atem wo Ghana man mu my pali video no be man nya wa re ho se obehwe video no but that will give you the energy to understand the reason why ya make catch that was say John Mahama no e was say ni na tem because on no sponsor nipa tua neka every month $10,000 say the onya money nyina say onim pamfo atem o my Ghana yetim answer na do ba bedi akonwa na ye way of communication na eye communication bi a edi buo kese ene nidie kese e ma ye mpanfo John Mahama ko opposition pe ene o sha ase gada amanfo se ye ngum mpanfo ani mase ye ndidi mpanfo atem ye nka de enim ntoma amanfo no so ye nka mane nyete se de se bia obi ye kromfo ye metwa krono mfanto obi so yen accuse somebody to be a thief said the bear on Mahama betima babedi Ghana so and then the John Dariga betena konwa se o se the youth especially we the bloggers ye di atamododo no no kai brebi atwem na o comedian num na o kokasa kura na usuro na nado danko akufo ado adawro manti ena ye the criminal libel law e free ho ena ma medias no enya akwanya se o mubetimi ayem pensempensemu wo ne ma binum a ebia na ye government issues so before na nka untimi nka ho asem but John Mahama ko opposition no see that be mun take advantage of that law na munni akofo ado ne nkrofo nyina atem ahemfo mo waka man mo moto abadema MPP munni omo atem tribes ahodo a omoto abama edema MPP nyina munni omo atem nkase omo ye nkwasiafo abusia. This is what John Mahama did, but then John Dariga Babonten said osrega na fo a emaye ni na tem because atemudie e wo media nom no adoso dodo eyema no na medical tie video we
of my training as a journalist. I remember the early days when I did my internship in GBC and Madam Afeni Dazi was the news editor.
Oh, say a serious say you me you are there be why your friend body language very very important. What say papa ne ba betwan to be cancer man ni team aboa ewe no odi kande ne nsa etitin ne team bisa won say di ntia papa wo ne wo mindful be di nkomo as a president. Now as soon as you stood on your podium to talk, the first thing you did and say odo nsa e betitin wo team aboa ewe that again utima aboa na ewe say na wo di asem na wo kan obi a wo ye beneficial of insult na me no so ene what ma ba ye the president of the republic obi adi buo ma wo ene wo be kan kire say emaye ni atemu biem papa ehe na okoda enra die na onom na enra ensa be na onom wunim say wi wunim nom wi ankasa wunim nom de wunimu yo ene nsa mepese mi hu nsa be na okowe ye kowe ensa be na onom ne nra sebio sorry na no pa afa wa adwene ma wunhu de won kan kire o manfo. Now let's move on and listen to what this man has for us. Ye wia na ma party videos na nsema Kevin Taylor kan kire Ghana mpanfo. Listen. Meso se bu shawa ba no like video na wa share na ye koye ni ma memfa nchiama abankwa Grace ma me so hwe me from Italy we so masama ni me cheo ye pa me kwasi asamo a me cheo kakari TV me cheo ye pa we so masama ni me cheo biem na me ma me esta me cheo busia like video na share na comment ma me na me ntumi hu enchao me share Facebook for so ama forwa a me cheo ye pa Prince Ansa me cheo Charles Dankwa me cheo na ya me cheo Benjamin Ayete me cheo Morris Amas me cheo and I mean, kwasi asamo won so me. Now, let's move on into our daily business. Video ya me oba chire wo nyina ne said the woman nyina ne said John Mahama ba bonten be kan chire Ghana for say especially the bloggers say ye nkasa ya ye kan wo abontre airtime emfa di emampanyfo maame mo akwaba eye kasa bi e kasafin eye kasa bi asabio nyansa nim ya nkasa ne ye create story ne ye create emotional impression ya na ye set agenda into obese say progress or so ba beti team soldier for police for ne the Ghana Journalists Association no mo de aye yen kan say valuation on the media then am sema amanfo ka de tane de nye tane ye hu kwa be fa so a sa ne ma na subetwa me pese wunya ntoboase na huntie Mahama tie ne ye pa ne nsema oka na nyantoboase to make this thing become something strange to you. Wow, to you him say Kevin Taylor you be a Mahama na sponsor. I know say me be ma ohweme. You are completely aware say sabio akoya your friend Kevin Taylor e John Dariga and a sponsor no. I know say you know that. Na Mahama otumetena say
chidie we
nyantoboase Mahama otumetena say I want you to listen to this man kese video in your time. And my video in your time. Tie video na me be bo akire wo no. Na me wi a ma bo nsema na John Mahama timi nya kokodro be ka kire Ghana fo. Akire wo. Na me no nyina ma bie phone line ato no ma judgment. Se Mahama wa bodam bibi efa ni tima na de ne ha no. Ada ene wasesa ensane de akoye wi no ma na. Ana ene ensano ne na batwe no ompaja ni biem afedie ne nsa ne kone ba na abatwe no ompaja nkoso se wo nwan na je se ompaja wa batwe but se o hyiwi ne de se wonsa kona wonsa ba wa change the opa na wa change na kono de no wa change na so utimi kofa Kevin Taylor tia ne ka bosumi be 10,000 good choppable dollars. Ima mi akwa nya akwa mo akwaba. Now man authority to insult every Ghanaian. Man authority to even to lie against even Supreme Court judges. Man akwa nya mani di oman hena ye fre enkan se ohene kakra ka kukuruku te se otumfo Omana kwanyama ni tumidi ochen hina tem. Omana kwanyama ni di wankasa o president Nana Danko Akufo-Addo atem. Edi the former president Yewura J. Akufo atem. Etumi sanfa Ghana 4.4 dade lumba no nyina omoje omode. Na utwa sa ni panika. Ene wo betena konwa so a you are now telling we Ghanaians say the insult on the media, especially from the bloggers, is too harsh. Me a man in ya, yina yenti video way. Party Kevin Taylor, me Kofi somewhere, blah, mwakwa pa. Na party Kevin Taylor video so na odi Ghana from paying for them. Yina name say Kevin Taylor, and officially sponsored by NDC. So anything that the NDC, the Kevin Taylor does, it is because it is a plan of the NDC. Entity video no bi kakra. Ye wi na me be phone lines no to so atimi atwa bia bojo Mahama mame. Na ba bia ye de yentie. Me Kofi Samuel me ho ye pa. It has been a long time.
tichidie akwawe kwasia we kura mu so ne so edwan odwan we kura mu tena radio so e defending no mo pe ebe na mo hyehye be echi ena we de wa
For CEOs ne police obi agene de Africa akwawe ho. To the point to say even unyake so ya kani kura na this guy will go fully against you. Voted and said your dear. But in all this, Mahama did not sat on any platform of his campaign to say, Adiana Kwabrani ayefeni Kevin Taylor yen wo media no so no ense emfata. He accepted all. He adopted all. He believed that what he was doing was the right way to go because it will let him win the power in 2024 elections. And your town money wanka ho asɛm da na ogusu pia sika de ma no wanka ho asɛm da na ogusu epia sika de ma adwempa hene na ogusu no pia sika na ode ma akoya a ote ye friend sense se Kenya o se South America se South Africa o na ogusu no pia sika ma akobi ye se refe ni Nkoto na ogusu no pia sika ma Power FM Mugabe nom Bobi Kwabena Nsanom ene agimifo nka ebinom omo aka no omo job to do and say they have to insult every person that matters in MPP. Mahama say enye bone. Mahama say enye bone better ne dey o say atemu die in the media na ye bone. Mahama you can never ebedu atem be see ebetwa bo. Yashada pardon some phone na oba ye nkyere ya wahase a wo ye no. Yashada pardon agu ho. Enti promise bi a o make ye. Launching program bi o call launch ye. Ye twen say ye hu say wo di ye adwuma mpa. We will bring them one by one and we are going to insult you very 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 well. Ye be do atema bu back home. Madika can't say a movie make it a refugee status. Enti extradition kura ntumi nya adwuma ewo yeso. Temi yepa. John Dariga abusia Samuel na John Mahama esuma nipa mo be yeye editi agana man. And now kwabrane benya tumi so oba be di Ghana konwa no so no. Wasesa na no bege Ghana for say emaye nidi na atem wo media num emaye nkansemfo wo media num amaye nkansema eho enya akono wo media num because ono bra na osha ase oye ne first adwuma ase journalist no na ukwa abontene kura se ukwa akosa na ukokasa na usuro betene the media is open, social media is there, people are capturing their news from the social media and progress omo set agenda edema the society abusu yema so na yenti Mahama ne nsem okai ye wi anama bie phone last na to no be twabo no oba twabo no oba just come and trouble him yenti.
And I worked in the newsroom. That is when I practicalized my skill in story writing and all that.
Entity ni ye pa ajapade book na ba bonteno. Papa we na twere because ono ye skillful in writing of stories. Me even san kama mo akwaba. See, or you're skillful in writing stories. Ente japade book ne some stories binum kwase book binum ne nkwase ntwetwe ye ndisi for fire de be campaign in 2024 no. Those were all the handiwork of this con man who na ojina hoyi. Papa obedi president a handover note ontima yen kan man ntiase. Papa obabedi ade a odwa na num kire Ghana for said the economy is criminally managed. Now betna konya so in 9 months wadi 10 billion Ghana cedis. Ori na gina hoy. Ori na twa san kwase stories na de ba abonte no. Papa we ne create confusion man ko kan kire Ghana for say Hoptel e yakofo ado de e ye Dr. Bawomiane dia. Papa we na flek in the Japan kwatran dan mu ka kire ne say only Trump fangu MPP so no obo be man adwuma ye. This useless con mind president. Papa we your buy ya we be di Ghana man so pain. Na still the brain in his mind enya adwuma. Na onim say artificial stability of the economy wrong, waste of money. Now see onim. No Tima Ghana spending $4.4 billion just for his foolishness. Or in the Jina Hoy. Who was in my new attempt? $4.4 billion could have built 40, 70 factories in the country. Anka nkwada ebenye adwuma ye. $4.4 billion. Yebetumi they have completed all the agenda 111 project. I will see you here $4.2 billion in Tino. One is Husikano. Kabutinda complete mo bi yare a watumi akɔ hospital. Uba ye no na Nando Danko Akufo-Addo atoto ambulance, one district, one ambulance. Jimmy, instead of you to spend that 4.4 billion, now be man aye 2 ambulance, 1 district. Ni hu se why ya de nyansa wom no. Wo de koye artificial stability of your currency. Now Dr. Bawomi aka kire mo a na mo se mo nte ase. O se when your fundamentals are weak, your exchange rate will expose you. Once I expose you and ne hu de onka, wo be gina onka sa mfa dollar ho biem. Dollar na apeke. Sheki mami o wa benna. Ane de oba onka se dollar na apeke biem. Also ntimi ka sa mfa dollar ho biem a fade progress na wo de wa asem ba yen so. Progress ene ye wo target. Obebre because the majority of the bloggers now omutimi ka omukokoso asem no, we are all living abroad yen tiga na mamu na wasobo nkwase agakwanom ni na jimifo na ba yefie be se ye be hamount se odi dadewa asi dua so e wo dan so abra wo boso ye be hamount tell the head no be wura dua no ye be boss ma wotia pai wo hey John Dariga o se say usura temudie hunya hu bibi yentie the story writer every comedy, every unfactual story be out in 2024 campaign will be an Mahama na treye. Wakachire wo ha also a story writer. Oni jina hoyi wenanim ai bani bamboy this year ni kurom jadam onka ho asem. Ai papa wo yotimi instigate the northness ma omoko ojina also onka no ho asem. Atemudie na ho hia no because pressure ne ba ne mu wa hia na wa nom konya kana dodo se edi na atemani wura ne dompemu a obenom nsan to the point say obe lose focus na woni na mo wa lose focus awie papa ujira hoyi wa lose focus awie ade ba akopa obedi Ghana man so wa ye mana so Ghana fo ani ene se ukoto pad wo wiem Jimmy Jimmy also mpate mu de ena maka me si Jimmy where Jimmy to the point say you promise everything that you know credit say they were not fattable they were not fattable ana untumi nyamani ye but you promised them ene na no see there be Ghanaians should pray for you for the hard times ahead. Hey papa unya hu bibi tikasiye readwe na wotenchen a na do Jimmy ka se emre tikasiye nyansani de na adwene manage situations very difficult na wotenchen a aya na odwene se emre wadana ho football supporters omo hwe football ati so munyina Ronaldo Jimmy sa papa nese wahu you are already afraid to say what is ahead of us no ebema manfo di watementi ude won said the kind say moye ni watem e be trouble da bia anytime that the dollar will decline the cedi will decline for a peso maybe be trouble because so buy ya dollar no that 13.5 no or 14 no that was with the solid foundation. But to buy you have spent 4.4 billion Ghana for some for Sobia just for fancy, just for trickish. These guys, hey, cruise with mom who pa. I think say you need to be mentored. Mumu here say be me ubenya obi on be mentor because munim governors ma dwene yadwuma we ye moa completely mu ye crook of gangs maka mo ho abomu a munim kwa mbefa so mbenye sika apart from some mubeje the taxpayers money na machicha di machicha ho. That is the only way that you guys can become rich. Jimmy for now let's go and listen to Jimmy Sama yewura ye papa Yanka say President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, John Kefu, Ebekaye, Abra say Atemudie, Enye in our society. Yentie.
Our lecturer, Professor Karkari, was the one who taught us journalism, and I did my internship in GBC. Others were attached to Graphic, Ghanaian Times, and all the other news organizations. But in later years, I was to find myself on the other side, having entered politics and appointed as Deputy Minister of Communications by virtue of my training. And so it was a very interesting time. Comrade Kwesi Pratt, Kweku Bakun, and all of them had been in the fight for media freedom. They had been arrested and jailed several times. And eventually the 1992 Constitution had been written. And so the early years of opening up the media space, I got involved in that when I came into government in 1997. And by then the Radio Eye issues and things had all taken place, Tarzan and all the escapades. At the time I came in, things had settled down a bit, but people were still getting used to the new regime. Joy FM was there, Gold was there, Peace FM and Co had not yet come on stream. Yes, and these were more independent media, and their reporting could be quite uncomfortable. And so as Minister of Communications, first Deputy Minister and then Minister, I really had a hard time, containing government communications. But it was a good experience. I constantly had to go on programs to try and explain what government's position was, and it was not easy with the kind of boss I had. I mean, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings, he was very unorthodox, and so sometimes he would go and say something and I have to crack my head and say, now how am I going to explain this to but somehow we managed to get through with it, and the media has come a long way since then. And I believe that the major catalyst for this has been the 1992 Constitution. It's been one of our most progressive constitutions in the history of Ghana, especially the inclusion of Chapter 12, specifically on the media, indicating media freedoms and what needed to be done to protect the media. And for the first time, licensing was taken away, so anybody could establish a media house without the kind of restriction that used to exist before. And so we've come a long way since then. But since then,
I was telling me your papa we your company for first time. When we say, the Chapter 12, the media akwanya somebody omobeye. Sa papa we or a criminal, you know why? He don't want to acknowledge what Akufo-Addo did that Emma akwanya sebio press freedom ebeba o mainum. Rodens breso na woni hwan na waka Rodens Asɛm. Rodens abreso papa we aye friend Kwaku Baako. Hwamane papa we famu. Senye na nado danko Akufo-Addo na ba ye obeyi obeye Attorney General otumi bomb modern yif offense criminal libel law free o my Ghana mu a enka hwan na wakwanya so otumi ko tena media so ka de ope. But John Mahama don't want to say MPP aban ne timi ye adwuma ma media fonya freedom to speech. Hey papa we en kontomne be trouble. You be trouble ye pa. We en kontomne be trouble pa. And this for you've never allowed the media to be free. You have always trying to oppress the media because of your corruption and your unpracticable procedures. Modibu omai. Akufifo. And then you want to take the credit of Nana Danko Akufo-Addo and J. Kufo to say because you guys the Constitution, You want to tell us say a constitution of Ghana and the makwan Emma media enya kwanya kasa. You want to tell me say from 1992 all the media space had their right to go to the offices and institutions of the country to demand for explanations of some issues. Sana person country Papa, yes say Fadie se fatano na sidamano. Se no kresa Akufo-Addo ne be ye adwuma as Attorney General. No timi born e homodre ye adwuma den. Emma press freedom ba o man no mu a. Don't feel ashamed to say it. Make it clear. Make Ghanaians understand who Akufo-Addo was before he became the president. Naija say o twe ensuo no nyina ko NDC side. Na NDC for mo constitution a mo ye no. You did it just to protect your military leader, John Rawlings. And in TNA, who Papa Ujina Hoy, after so bought Ghana for Chrono from 2012 to 2016. Yan Timian for Uncle Jana Court, and Miss Numa Sem one some phobia udi eho. Nanam Soma, what to me as Baby president here. Yan Timian for one jana box I'm Miss Numa Sem. I'm prosecuted. I'm mouth sentence. I'm one called the prison and say, you do your man so I am more minor chrono. And what is good about the constitution that you are talking about? Apart from the fact to say, Ghana for want to say we want to live in a peaceful country. We don't want to overthrow any government since 1992. It is Asɛm na done that again. Catch again. Press freedom. The achievement of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the MPP. Kama nipante na jai yenkan say yes nyatwem a osi asofofo ye nyatwem no wo a. You are such a cruelest leader. Ukuro meshe kan ho asema yentie. John Dariga, try to be wise, if not you be trouble ma why mere. Me Stephen Ida me mo akwaba na park won so me mo akwaba yento ado na yentie.
A lot of things have changed, and one of the major changes in the media landscape is technology and the new media. And so we don't have traditional media as we knew it. In terms of media houses, you either had a newspaper, a publishing organization, or you had a broadcasting organization. The media has become a bit decentralized, and because anybody who has a phone and a camera can report news to the public, and it means that communications is dealing with a wider range of people, not only traditional well-organized media houses, but also individuals, especially the new group called bloggers, who go to events with journalists and vie for positions with them to get the best shots and the best stories, and they just go with their phone, edit, and then they put the news out. So the media landscape has changed, and the sources of information has changed, and in many cases it is those people who are setting the agenda, because for most of our stations in the morning they're taking a lot of news from what 1957 covered, or what GH something covered, and they have all these their little inscriptions they put on their video.
You benefited from the social media. You benefited from the bloggers. I didn't hear ne. Namo a Jimmy for an multimedia no so namo ye Juma Mahama no. And they say what? Or see you are not credible. Temi ye pa. Me mama da na me mo akwaba. Or see ne, you guys are not credible. But you guys were the people who made available all sort of lies and throw against the MPP and AMSO. Emma Ghana for Kotuaba and a Birman Kotuaba. Emma or no, ever ye president. But Nadia, or some way incredible. Moye, Nanya incredible, Moye Nipabia, you cannot trust your sources of information. So now Mahama is discrediting every blogger in Ghana, says, oh, but the Asɛm to jar, and you're not correct. Hey, Papa, we Nchense odidim otimi dan na nisan to ntesoro gum ema ne yeye papa we onye ni papa kura papa we oye ni pa fon oye ni pa bone papa nchense na odidim no mimi asame jasi mo akwaba nchense odidim no otumi etin tesoro gum ema ne yeye. He benefited from bloggers. He benefited from all the stupid posts, all the stupid videos, all the stupid content here. A Jimmy Fobin create in the favor of this man. But I see those guys are not credible. Just to make sure, say so be cancer, blogger be cancer, Ghanaians will not take it serious. Have you seen the psychological game that this man want to play with Ghanaians? So Kachem say you have a short memory. Now he's actually applying the short memory strategy on Ghanaians. Temiyepa. He's actually now what? Applying the short memory strategy on Ghanaians.
Videos, and that drives the discussion in the morning. So they become a very important part of that segment, but are unregulated. And so sometimes they go to the extreme. The language is filthy. I mean, they can just, go to town, either insulting somebody or sometimes on the limits of hate speech. Yeah, and these are things that in the whole world, people are beginning to look at and say, how can we regulate hate speech? How can we regulate, extreme foul language,
John Mahama said, "Men can't say progress your Ghana, progress ye stream towards Ghana. Ye kasa yeka, ye kasa yeka, ye kasa ye fin." Yo, papa we ya kasafin ye di ye adwuma ma no mane bedi Ghana konwa so no ene ono mbom ne be kan kire say progress enye regu ye mfa into the line. So progress in Ghana today ye use language be ye very dirty. Ye timi pajo bi na ye di na tem Ghana for busuanfo amohweme mi wianom mi wiama mi wiamema me wo fase nom me wo fanom me nananom ne mpamfu amohweme wo media iso. Apart from NDC bloggers on the media, ehefo ene kankasa fin e wo media nom se wadwen comment section ho why ne bie na no se o kasa wo media iso a ne kasa tan munyi kene de Japan krofo nsi nche na omo so no they are NDC indirect supporters omunya nikre why ehefo ne kankasa fin wo media apart from NDC bloggers. But ene John Darega Timi being a local Ghana for say progress. Mention your boy's name, your small boy. Kwasi ampanyi na utia na ka otia Americano. Kwasi ampanyi na utimi edi national security a Ghana for ye tax ye tua. Ene edi tua national security for ka. Utimi de kofani free America. Edi bedru Ghana maimu. Esande ne kwatena the vice president residence. Ebon and Hobai, Esan the Ghana for a Sikato Patrogu come, Esan deploy security men to go with him across the country. Woman, I will be too young Papa, who and be too young for, and now with phones and one held the nana. And Abrena, who young Quasia Juma Winano, now himself time of a social be trebia bowana. I didn't hear Nadia Woosu say me ni watem. The ball bet, yeah, parky, yeah. Now when him say your time is coming whereby the focus will be on you and I. And I know you say President Nana Danko Kufuado will remain and you'll be now I know you say President Nana Kufuado will be ceremonial president. Now why ye executive manner, ye who na yanka de yempenchire wana. You sponsor Bola Bet. You still keep on sponsoring him. You still give him the chance to insult everyone. And you have the audacity to come into the media scape trying to tell us, say, Atemudi nye. Papa, talk to your man in where? In America. Kasachire no. A Jimmy for no mature huashia. Omoye stories tema ono. Fre one na two onfo. Enye yen. Na there, we have already made our mind on what we should talk about. So Ghana media for no more now more juma said yes and fata. Yena yewa bonteno. We will put our life on the line and we will whip you into the line. Yebe brew a chimwa ye the fata. We will make sure say we will keep you on the right direction because we don't want you to fail. And say banisi and person be failure. Why my yati asese e ya temudie e na yede den yede put a leader in a line because e na uma progress no e de ye MPP aban e na nado dan kwa Akufo-Addo sami jansi se Mahama ye joka ye nto aso na montie nyanto ba se nenko ye chika kra bi tie Mahama ha tie.
In the whole world, people are beginning to look at it and say, how can we regulate? They go to the extreme. The language is filthy. I mean, they can just, go to town, either insulting somebody or sometimes on the limits of hate speech. Yeah, and these are things that...
Why they make hate speech than Kevin Taylor? Nabusiamfo, Boboba. You know why Boboba? Kwakume came out time ago and told Ghanaians, say he want President Mahama to make a law bia so can some phone ewo media no so aye we thought said it was a game. No, na ya sama ya kan shina no so only can make ho asem media no yento aso na yentie.
In the whole world, people are beginning to look at it and say, how can we regulate hate speech? How can we regulate, extreme foul language, And so it's just an issue I'm raising so that all of us can begin to think about it. And the point is, would we classify them in the typical sense of journalists? I mean, those bloggers, are they typically journalists? Those are all questions that must agitate our minds.
Enti Mahama de abeton framanu mu se bloggers ni di atem dodo. Enti yen hya as a nation. Yen dialogue about it. Nipa da sadi. Human beings, Ghanaians, President Mahama is naturally born liar, hypocrite, and a really greedy person. Tiemiyepa. John Dariga Dramani Mahama Onenamono. He was born a greedy, hypocritical human being. Nchensi odidim otimi danani etenta surogum. Na waye nanim se hwento no. Papa, aden wasesa wo habit ana. Konya aka no ompani biem. Wode ohwene ana wode wonsa na ekoba kyereme mu. Ohwene anaju edura wode si table bi so twe bibigura mu ana. Dear ne how enkrofo na oba ya na omonde omu praying eba kotoka ho ebe sisa niama anajo de kono omugya obibi a wode akogu Jubilee House ho a anajo odidi agora na ohwenem eya na efufu ana nwisie bi fa omu nwisie bi efa omu. So somebody say you want to bring the criminal labor law back into the system because you want to feel as a India mean or being kawasem.
It has been like the president said, we've seen a consistent decline in our international rankings, and that is an issue of concern for us. And part of it is because of issues to do with harassment of journalists and even the unfortunate murder of Ahmed Swali, which...
Wow, wait. Listen one. Nyanto wasn't tipa. Wo John Daliga Dramani Mahama, Obetna Gana Kunyaso. Journalist Sawatiomo. Journalist Sayatio Moa Bromo. Abrekuma not, Yabu journalist Makuma Kumiensa. Ubaye, Abronye DC Wafreno. Want to me radio presenter Ufreno. Uko train aso 2 weeks. Oketachia frifa mensa mo train aso a Paulado mo chire mo train aso a TikTok bloggers kura mu kodidi o chifanti comedy ne nkura bi no mo aka mo ye mo TikTok blogging. Enye no na amagana ye journalism system in terms of global ranking. Na mom no Ahmed Swali ye kum no years ago. Hey, this man is a hypocrite. Timmy Yefa. Ahmed Swali ye kum no be say 5 years ago no. Ono ne nam ne so ene. Hey Mahama, you are very, very, very wicked man. Imami Paulina entry mo akwa papa. Ahmed Swali ye kum no 5 years ago. Ono ni effect ene amma the Ghana journalism yen can say a freedom no press freedom no ye twiko na chi na mom na enye nkwase ade a obetena Ghana konwa so ni namansa watch almost all the journalists omon kasa mawo enye no na me ye twi Ghana press freedom no ni global ranking ye twiko na chi yen to ado
international attention, and I think that since then other incidents that have occurred have diminished our ranking, and so we need to find a way of ensuring that people, when they do that kind of thing, face sanctions or are punished, because once there's no deterrent they continue to do it. Or aside from that, to educate and create awareness that journalists are not enemies. They are reporting something that is happening, and so they must be given a free leverage to be able to do their reporting.
Before you came in power, Ghanaian journalist, I am a Samija Sikano, Gordon of Movement TV, Kuramosan Frena Kaho. Before you came in power, Ghanaian journalists were not harassed. Some Ghanaian journalists were sued by individuals. Omufiri said they were defamed by some lies. Amanfo ekuku eshera noaye. When Captain Smart was called to the bar, when he was called to the police station, enye Ghana buying enye national security for ene call ni fie. Eye minister of road ne fili say odini dinya kodi nkwasi asem ene ofre no police station. The other journalists no ye chichi won no enye Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo ene kese ye nkochi won. Some individuals binuma omufili say they were defamed by this journalist. No mu publicity lies about them. But the ekoso ne Ghana no a national security na go after journalists. And it is our futu bia. If actually you really don't agree on this thing, sir, all what you have to call is there was so many say Obafre Nkwasi for Japanom any Jimmy for cowboy I Las Vegas agent no Jack Chai Jack Mollison Obafre no now na trend them no what to the fu say onya Nkwasi ade na oye no journalist so it's simple as ABC. It is simple as ABC. Don't beat around the bush. You are the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. And the Minister of Communication and Information is your minister, Jimmy. They are all under your command. And you can use your supreme power to command them to do the right thing with the media houses and the journalists in the country. So don't come here and beat around the bush, acting like you want to do something better. Oh, Papa, we are very hypocrite.
Many times when I go to a function and I'm seated, I normally look at the way the journalists are being handled. And you find that there are some security personnel who just have a knack for harassing journalists. I mean, they are not harming anybody. They are standing, they are filming. Then somebody comes, you can't stand here, you can't stand there, move, you know. And I said, what have they done? So sometimes I have to shout and say, leave them, let them do their job, you know. And so I think that we need to create awareness in the minds of these people. Some of them are police officers, some are military officers, some are national security, and especially national security, you know. Okay. They don't have training to understand that, you know, journalists are doing their work. You have the job of protecting the VIP or whatever. The journalists do have their work of reporting, you know, what they doing their job and reporting what is going on there. And so we must find a way, and I told President that I'll want, you know, Felix and the ministers of security agencies to create a certain forum where the Journalists Association and these security agencies can interact, so that it sends a message to them that, look, journalists are not your enemies. They are there to do their legitimate job of informing the people, and so they are not subject to harassment. With regards to the state-owned media,
okay, it is finished. Yewura Mahama on Asɛm papa bi ka kyerɛ Ghana for. And a parke kano. This man is a certain man. Guru boy. Goro boy, what my baba ye president, or a froster in his nature as character. Goro boya, on and in a more baba ye president, or a froster, or a scammer, or a trickish. So we are the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Now by a press conference to tell me, say, also because national security for an nursery. To tell me, say, national security are harassing journalists. What do you want to tell me? Am I the one to talk to the national security? Are we the people, the citizens? And I was say here in Kasantre, the national security say they should not harass the journalists, or is you the chief commander, commander-in-chief, chief commander of the Ghana Armed Forces? Wona ongo so Kasantre mo ana say yen citizens no yen en Kasantre national security for so munja a journalist harassing. Papa, yenye mo unse mo ya wo kan a Jimmy Fobi to ano mo bo mo nsam. Unse mo ya wo kan mo ahyeda sesa nkwasiafo bi akogu hall ho a wo kan kwasiasem ni wi ano mo abo mo nsam. But we the people who thinks, people with mindset, with intelligence, you know, we do understand that they we in a QNet, because it was under your watch. And now poor do much it. You had to go to ho. Say, under your watch. And now God in a Sadibedia movement TV. You had to go to ho. Won't to me radio. Any FM boy, Kumasini boy. You had to go 2 weeks. Fanti comedy. You had to go to Mami AY, you didn't go to say Obama, you didn't go to, and many more. Your mommy and some you crowd what they nimba be your moafa. national security for no. Why in the command yomo? Who is the head of the national security? Are you not the chief of the Ghana Armed Forces? What stupid 10 came into your mind to come out and tell Ghanaians to say national security are harassing? Hey, Papa, unye serious. Papa, nyama unye si adwini na meka no. Papa, wahu. I think say wasesa nneema mu. Ne nsa no mpaja ne biem. Ada se ne nsa na ekoba ana nyino ju oboni hwene ase eko table so. Ode ne hwene sesa nneema yenka ne sa. Ode ne hwene sesa nneema nti ade na bɔ afa ne tinum. Now say if the Ghana the national security people, they need to be prepared. Are we the common citizens that we have to go and call Richard Jakwa Kromfo Tisa? Say on country and Krofon so Munye say anasa ye wumum no ma directions straight away to the head office of the national security. Say Omunye dying. Omo engage themselves no mu kwa mbefa so treaty the Ghana national the Ghana media personals well. Wow, Abirikuma North. After you have 184 seats, you went to Abirikuma North to get another seat and you beat journalists there. Up to now, Wabeka Wasem. Show any moon and Kwasi Akika ni Jimmy Kika. Papa, boy.